very difficult to predict what they will do. They play a lot of strategies, and Alliance, you sort of know what's coming. So.
Now, Black, we already seem to be pretty into this draft right here. EHOME have opened up with the Shadow Demon, Mirana, Alliance, Ogre, and Drow. You were saying back up in the booth that you felt like EHOME could be the team to take it almost all the way. How do you feel already with their draft starting in game number 1?
I feel very confident because I know Fenrir, I've played with him in the team before, that Shadow Demon is his favorite hero, and he's pretty much the best Shadow Demon in the world for me personally. And Old Chicken on Mirana did so much work in the group stage, so I think they have a perfect setup so far for them.
And Will, you know, you're good buddies with Jerry and some of the Alliance guys here. They open up with an Ogre, and then they already say we're going to be playing a Drow kind of a lineup here. What do you think about Alliance just kind of with game 1 saying we're doing Drow?
I think Alliance is the kind of team that they're going to set the pace. They're going to say, we're going to play this kind of lineup regardless of who we're playing against. Whereas EHOME feels like one of the teams that kind of wants to play that counter-picking style. That's why we saw the Abaddon, because it was their response to the Slardar when it was so popular as a hero. So I think right now, Alliance are just saying to themselves, all right, this is the pace that we're going to set. We're going to run at you. And EHOME, now they have some time to respond to this. Because with the Drow Ranger strategy, it's very obvious what you want to go for, the type of playstyle. The good news with this type of playstyle now, though, is that it can start to gear towards the late game. We've seen the ultra late game Drow Rangers, when she has that Ags and Mjolnir build, still go toe-to-toe.
Yeah, especially if you have another core. Like we saw some of the games where when it gone late, it was Mirana plus Drow on the same team. And they dealt so much damage in just the late game. It's not a one-dimensional hero anymore when you pick Drow where, oh, we have to end the game 30 minutes, otherwise we're going to lose. But Alliance in general, they don't really care if the enemy counter-picks them. They're just going to do their thing. Pick their heroes and just play their game.
Usually Alliance picks like a more space maker kind of mid-hero, like a Puck, like a what is it? A Magnus, something like that.
A Brew.
A Brewmaster.
Night Stalker.
Yeah. And usually they would go with the Nature's Prophet because it's like really good with the Drow Ranger, and Bulldog obviously one of the best prophets ever. And back then when Drow wasn't actually very popular, it was Alliance and C9 who were like constantly spamming it and kind of like perfecting the playstyle. So if any team knows how to run it properly, it's them.
So they almost feel at home with this, so yeah. And Alliance have a lot of synergy with Drow from that past. I mean, we could see an Ake Enchantress even pop up. That's been a staple of his and can fit nicely along with the Drow Ranger here. Winter, you had coached Alliance at one time back in the day, and so you still back up that saying where Alliance, they play their game plan and just follow through with that. Don't worry too much about what the opposing team is doing, or do you think that still should be a bit of a factor? Oh, even better, a cuddle.
Yeah, they are a team that mostly focuses on themselves. I think when you're playing competition at this level, it's very difficult to think about the opponent all the time. You might just forget what you're good at or what your teammates are good at and think too much about countering the enemy. It's a good approach to the game, I feel.
I mean, you look back to TI3, Alliance really didn't change up their style at all. Everybody knew what they were going to do, but they were just completely dominating every team because they perfected it and nobody could counter it, even though they knew it was coming. And we could see the same with here, with the Drow Ranger style, because they haven't actually lost many games with it recently.
I really like that Undying pickup, by the way, by EHOME. I think this is one of the better battling heroes, especially when you've got Tombstone, you've got the Shadow Demon Illusions to worry about, the Healing Ward. They're just going to create chaotic fights. And a hero like Drow Ranger, she has to kind of have that single target focus. It's hard when you just got 4 different heroes running at you, and I feel like EHOME's lineup is pretty good at contesting what Alliance have so far.
Yeah, and not many like supports can run and fight against the Ogre at level 1. Like Undying can do pretty well with the decay. So overall, EHOME has a very good like laning setup right now. Their lanes are very, very scary with SD, Mirana, Jug, Undying. If Alliance goes for 2 greedy lanes, they might just get crushed in the laning phase. They have to pick lanes that are much stronger right now.
Yeah, we've seen Bulldog, he loves to run his Nature's Prophet in off lane.
Do you think they're going to do that this game?
Well, Bristleback has
double cool spray.
Yeah, it's gonna be Coddle, Bristleback.
Dual lanes, yeah.
Dual lane, off lane, yeah. And then it's gonna be Ogre Draw, safe lane, and probably something like a Puck middle or a Brewmaster even. Something we see S4 play a lot and make a lot of space for the team. What's really good with Drow Ranger against Undying 2 is when you actually hit the Tombstone with an Aghanim Scepter, the split shot still happens.
Whoa, shit.
Yeah, so you can actually like...
Mind blown.
That'd be pretty cool.
I hope we get to see a bit of it. That'd be crazy.
Pretty cool.
What do you think, Will? Do you agree with what Black says, and that could fit the bill for S4 in the mid lane, going for something, a space creator like a Puck, like a Brew, or do you think they need to ramp up the push tempo a bit and consider options like, I don't know, DK, Death Prophet, something like that?
I mean, I think the big thing is, out of all the heroes that are going to abuse that drawer, it's going to be your mid hero. I don't think it's a big deal if you're offlaner or both your supports are range, but I kind of do like it when...
Oh, they might want Storm, yeah? They have Coddle and their band Nyx.
Yeah, I figured that just because there's almost no reliable stun on the side of EHOME, as soon as S4 gets something like a BKB, this is going to be a free game for him.
Something about Will being on this panel. 5th pick Storm.
Every
Twice
time
now.
he's here, there's a Storm pick.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
It's the classic, you saw China do it very often. It was the Drow Ranger plus the Storm Spirit, and that's
Yeah.
what enables for Storm to be a decent hero.
It's
And
not only that, like a chakra as well.
yeah, this is, I saw after the first 2 picks on both sides, once you kind of give away a lot, you see the Undying, he's not a disabling support as well. It was the VGR versus Liquid series where we saw Undying versus a Storm Spirit. He just can't keep up.
And Storm recently had the big problem of laning, which obviously gets a lot easier with Drow Ranger, but also in late game, he hits like so much harder than he usually would. He hits actually for like 250 damage per hit instead of like 150.
I mean, EHOME right now has to win their lanes. Like, if the game goes late, they have Kotl, Storm, Bristleback. Like, their late game is very, very scary. So, EHOME with the Undying pick on the SD, they might have to focus on roaming like on the Storm in the early game. Try to set up kills with the Mirana.
Yeah, they will have to abuse the Storm middle. He's pretty weak to Shadow Demon and Mirana gang, so if they can kill him once or twice, that's gonna set him up to a good tempo in the game.
Yeah, they might have to use like 1 or 2 smokes for that during the daytime, like to be able to gank him early. Like if he plays safe, like he pushes the lane out and there's jungles, he's gonna be fine until he reaches level 6.
For Sang.
Final pickup for EHOME is going to be a Sand King here. We don't have much time, gentlemen. Before we throw it to the casters, what do you think about the drafts for both sides and who might have a good head start?
Well, I think EHOME's early game might be able to be too much for Alliance to handle, so I'm going to go for EHOME here.
Yeah, I think I will go for EHOME too, because I think the Storm Spirit is gonna have too hard of a time in the early game.
I think Storm will figure out a way to come back to this game.
Of course, Will. You're gonna think Storm's gonna.
Yeah, but if Storm loses this game, there's like more incentive to get him buffed, right? So
Fair enough.
Like this is a win-win.
In that
scenario
case,
for me.
yeah. If Alliance loses, then maybe Kyle will get a buff too. I'll take that. So, with that said, we'll throw it over to our casters now. Over on the side, we have Draskell and OD Pixel.
Thank you very much, Dakota. Indeed, here we are getting ready for the first game of day 2 of the main stage. EHOME versus Alliance in a best of 3. The draft is complete. Andy, Alliance going up against EHOME. EHOME seen as one of the stronger sides in this tournament. It's going to be quite a game.
I mean, I wish Alliance the best of luck. I do personally like their draft a little bit more, but EHOME showed in the group stage they are insanely powerful, so I'm really looking forward to this match and seeing if Alliance can kind of stem the tide that is EHOME.
Absolutely. And as you said, with Alliance's draft, it's very Alliance-esque. It's similar to a lot of the stuff we saw them do in the group stages. I mean, just to go back, I believe it was the game against Na'Vi where we saw just how ridiculously powerful the Kotl can be with the pushes. Just sitting outside the base, giving them an insane amount of sustain when they get the good timing on the Aghanims. And we can expect to see that happen for the side of Alliance.
It's not even just about the health sustain that you're going to get from the hero. It's also about enabling like Storm and the Bristleback to be able to spam spells, and being able to get in and out of fights on Storm is what he's made for. And that's the whole reason EHOME last picked the Sand King. They need something that's a reliable disable to ensure that they can actually kill him during some stage. But as the panel already mentioned, EHOME pretty reliant on their lanes here. See what they're able to accomplish.
So in terms of EHOME's lineup as well, a lot of hero picks that they're very familiar with and still not kind of straying far from what we saw from them in terms of drafts during the group stage. What is the plan here for EHOME? Are they looking to just contain Alliance in the early game, slow down the push, the aggression that they're going to look for with the Drow Ranger, and then come and hit back hard as the game goes on towards the mid and later stages?
They just want to pressure the lanes a lot. Like, you have an Undying, for example. This hero is something that you pick when you want to make sure you're applying pressure somewhere. So if Lanham is able to do this dual offlane and get something done, maybe go for like the patented dive on the Drow, or force maybe even the Kotl to change lanes. Because right now it seems like Alliance are doing the smart thing, just anticipating that there's going to be a dual aggressive lane from EHOME. So they're just sending the Drow to the top lane to give him an easier matchup. And once EHOME see this, they're going to have to, I think, at least send the Undying up there. Maybe they send both supports. We'll have to see.
So you'd say in terms of lane decisions, this is Alliance reading EHOME very well?
It's what they want to do, yeah. I mean, there's not anything stopping EHOME from just teleporting the Undying to the top lane just to contest, but for now, it looks like they're just going to be sending Fenrir up instead.
Circus as well. I mean, at the moment, Undying hanging around the mid lane, but we'll see if he does head up top to indeed join forces as well, because Old Chicken already in the mid lane against S4 is to be doing okay. And I guess in this matchup as well, between the Mirana and the Storm, unlikely that we're going to see any deaths here before rotation comes through, or is there a clear strength for one of the heroes?
Unless S4 eats an arrow, I kind of doubt that he's going to be dying in this matchup. And also consider the fact that he will have Precision Aura at some point. At level 1, Loda actually decided to skill the Frost Arrow just for harass, so he doesn't actually have it at level 1. I'm not sure if they're just feeling confident that, you know, Storm's base damage is actually much, much higher than a Mirana's during the first few waves anyway, so he probably doesn't need that much of an advantage, but it's going to be a bit of a delay before he has that bonus DPS.
I mean, obviously with the way that the lanes have ended up, the fact that Ice at the moment on his own, down here on the bottom of the Juggernaut against the keeper of the light bristleback combination lane, it's going to be hard for him to find the farm, isn't it? How are EHOME going to cope with the fact that their Jug might have this harder time in lane?
I think they're banking more on Old 11 making something happen with the supposed farm that he's going to be getting. But truthfully, against this Frost Arrow spam, he's not really able to do a lot.
Oh, looks like they're actually going to switch it up.
Yeah.
They've taken Ice up to the top lane, so in turn we're going to see Old 11 head straight down bottom. And as you said, as you expected, this was required from EHOME really if they do want to find the farm for the Juggernaut.
Well, it's musical lanes. I mean, both teams just rotating heroes everywhere to try to get the advantage here.
I mean, when does it stop? It's, yeah.
The one thing about Sand King is that a lot of people are skilling, Caustic nowadays over Sandstorm, so you actually see a lot less, jungle stacking and stuff like that for, Old 11 to be able to get something done. I'm kind of worried for EHOME right now because they are making a lot of movement, and I feel like they wanted to be doing better in the lanes than they are, whereas realistically, the Bristleback's farming very well. The Storm versus the Mirana is kind of tied up at the moment, but I would expect, S4 to start pulling ahead, and plus he's got 3 range creeps in his lane, so for now, Alliance, this is the start they're looking for.
Absolutely. So the Alliance reacting each and every time to the movements from EHOME, absolutely worth it, you'd say, with their heroes.
Oh yeah, you just want to make sure that even if you're spending a little bit of money TPing around, you're not giving away a free laning phase to EHOME. Because again, with Undying, you want to pressure. You don't want to just walk around the map, teleport around the map, and get nothing done.
Let's see on the bottom lane, EGM just come across towards Old 11, just drops down an Ignite, just going to be a bit of harassment, forcing them back. Old 11 and Old Lanham. You're having to be careful, and as we can see, CS at the moment, Loader, 12 for 4. Certainly a lot better than Ice has managed to kick off at the moment. He's, of course, on the safe lane now, as we've seen, but still having to deal with the presence of the Bristleback. And now also Ake coming up as well, so the Colts are back up Bulldogs. So this lane isn't going to get any easier for Ice on the Juggernaut. And Alliance, as we can see, CS-wise, top 3 on the board, all on the side of Alliance. They're certainly playing this early stage a lot better, and they're reading the lanes and reacting in a way that's paying off at the moment.
It is a little bit worrisome, but again, Blink Dagger timing is going to be really key for Old 11. That's one thing that EHOME can look to and say, all right, we got some pretty decent mid-game. But as far as Old Lanham having impact in the lanes, he's pretty much doing the only thing he can, which is try to contest runes at the moment and just go for trades. But trading against an Ogre is not easy. The hero has very good base regen and 8 armor, so unless they're going to be spamming spells on him, the Ogre is going to be winning most of those trades, and EGM he still has a lot of regen. So it's not like the Undying can just sit there and stop even Loda from getting farm at this point. This is probably the most under pressure I've actually seen EHOME in the laning phase the entire stage of TI. I mean, of course, they did split a couple of series, but the way they draft leads you to believe that they would want to do well in the lanes, and it's just not happening right now.
And as you said, in terms of recovery, it is really just those big item timings, looking for the Blink Dagger on the Sand King and waiting for EHOME to start to make the plays to recover from this start.
Yeah, we'll have to see. They have very good heroes at getting kills. Like, you have the disruption into Arrow, obviously. You have Epicenter with a Burrow Strike, which is a very good stun against heroes like Storm, and some of the heroes on Alliance are a bit squishy to magical damage. So they have ways of making a comeback as long as they're getting their rotations down.
One thing to note as well, I definitely recall seeing a lot of games during the groups where Bulldog was on the Bristleback, and I mean, he's got to be one of the fastest farmers on the Bristle I've seen. Obviously not a lot of teams playing it, but if you let him get the space, he is going to get to that point where he's just going to become this unkillable force that can frontline the pushes for Alliance. So we'll see what EHOME do to tackle Bulldog's progression. And of course, at the moment, with the way that the lanes are going on, he is having absolutely free reign up top, especially with the presence of Ake, topping him up with the mana. But Bulldog, 30 CS at the moment, and neither Fenrir or Ice able to do anything in terms of slowing down the Bristle. Mid lane, Chicken and S4 as the matchup continues, 31 for 7. Where S4 still the lead. Top, they're going to try and make a go on Ake. Looking for the backliner of Alliance with a Blade Fury. They may just get it. Poisons out EHOME. They'll start to break the lane of Alliance up here at top. And Bulldog trying for Fenrir, can't quite get him. As he TPs out in time, but a nice move from EHOME to crush the top. And well, hang on. Old lad. Chunking into S4 behind a tier 2. Will TP himself away, but EHOME starting to find a crack in Alliance's lineup and abuse it there, taking down Ake.
Yeah, they were trying to find something with the Undying during that time, but unfortunately, you're not really going to kill a Storm, especially once he's level 6 and has a little bit of mana to zip away. You need to either land an arrow, get a Burrow Strike into a secondary stun. Those are the setups that you actually have that are going to be able to pressure him. But otherwise, I mean, getting the kill on the Coddle is nice. So you're going to see a leap away here from Mr. Old Chicken. But look at the Jugs farm comparative to Bulldog. Like, Bulldog is the highest farm in the game, and Ice 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 is struggling up in this safe lane.
See bottom lane, EHOME with the smoke, ready to put some pressure on. EGM actually is going to dispel it as he walks into the two of them. Of course, incredibly beefy on the Ogre. We'll see if he's beefy enough. Old Lanham taking away some of the strength. VGM trying to get out. Old Lanham body blocking him a little bit. It looks like he's going to be fun. Unless Old 11 can hit the Barrage Strike off now. The poison's too much. Unable to deny himself. EHOME with the movements now, starting to come on top of Alliance. Loader heading back. Smartly so. 4 heroes did head down here. We're already seeing Lanham return towards the mid, try and get some levels on the Undying, but another kill for EHOME. Alliance, they can respond by sending 3 up top by the looks of it. Maybe realizing that Ice 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 could potentially be on his own, and he is indeed. But Ice 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 already backing away from the lane, so not to be caught out by Alliance's movement.
I really like the way that EHOME played this. Every single time Alliance pick Bristleback and they put Bulldog in the offlane like this, they do Ancient stacks, and they're just warding to protect that. So instead of protecting like your safe lane and mid, they're protecting mid and the offlane. So EHOME probably just making that read and understanding how they like to play the hero and just recognizing that there's not going to be much vision on Alliance's side of the map in regards to the jungle. So whenever they make a rotation, it's much harder to anticipate and it's much harder to dodge. And with that, looks like they're also going to be able to secure the safe lane tier 1. So EHOME making really big strides here in the early game to recover from the CS and the laning phase.
As for the moment, the man to watch has got a haste rune bottled. See if anything goes down at all on the mid lane. 2 of them at the moment coming towards. It's hard, of course, to make a jump on S4. As EHOME's draft, obviously, in terms of lockdown, it's pretty much the Burrow Strike, the arrow. Obviously, they've got the setup with a disruption, but it could potentially be a hard game to control and contain a Storm Spirit.
Oh, absolutely. Like, it's, as Will said on the panel, there will come a point where if S4 has enough farm, he will be pretty much unkillable, barring a perfect combination from the side of EHOME.
See mid lane, there's a bit of a wraparound from the Sand King. Can't quite find an opening. Old Levin, he's got his eyes on S4 from the side. He may try for something, the ping's coming out, but S4 playing it safe. Top lane, Alliance putting some pressure on, but there'll be a TP in from Old Lanham as he comes to back up Ice 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 on the defensive. As we said earlier, obviously Ice 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 is struggling to find that farm. He's slowly catching up. A couple of points in the healing ward, keeping him able to stay in lane against Alliance's pressure. And of course, he's playing it carefully in Alliance, still yet to be able to find a kill. So EHOME making sure not to throw anything away under the pressure that Alliance were putting on them in this laning stage.
It's not as if Alliance need to like rush it or anything. Like normally drought strategies have some incentive to push towers early. That's always going to be true. But oh, it looks like we're going to see a kill here.
Nice,
Bulldog,
nice,
yep,
indeed, with
taken
the
down
Omni.
top lane.
Comes out immediately, Tombstone drops and Jug jumps in, and it's a big kill as well. And the Bulldog pretty much was right up there, top of the net worth. It's knocked down a little bit. That's a big kill for EHOME and the third one so far. S4 playing around with a haste rune. Dodges the initial Starstorm with the zap. See if he can fight through this, but with Old Lanham turning up, he's got to be careful. In fact, grabs himself an Invis rune as well in Alliance. He'll moving in, zipping forward. Can he finish off Old Chicken one more time? And into the Invis straight away. S4's going to be fine. He's very low on the mana, so unable to do anything about Old Lanham. But S4, the master of the runes, playing around with the haste and the Invis, and okie dokie. He'll take that as well as a bit of a bonus. S4, a kill and a few creeps to boot.
It's such a good start for a Storm to get that kill, get those runes, steal a stack away as well. There's even another large stack on their side of the woods. I think they're going to get that one to Bulldog, but either way, yeah, Storm getting a really good start in this game is amazing. You get that early Bloodstone, you start getting a few charges during fights, just make sure you don't die. You can get out of control real fast. And if you look at the way that EHOME rewarded, they're trying to prevent this from just all these aggressive wards all over the map, looking to try to find openings. And they have gotten a little bit of a kill lead so far. But in regards to overall net worth, Alliance are still doing very well.
Absolutely. Let's look over on the Sand King. What we're seeing on 11, about 1,300 towards the blink. So that's certainly going to be a very, very key item to pick up once he does get it. At the same time, we're seeing how over on Bulldog, he's just finished off the Vanguard. So next time, an Omni might not be enough to bring down this Bristle, and especially with the farm he's going to get from this Ancient stack. EHOME not in the neighborhood to do anything about this one, so Bulldog looks like he should be able to claim this without any issues at all. Okay, making sure he has the mana to do so. At the same time, EHOME, 4 members up top, ready to push in. Let's see what Alliance want to do in reaction. Looks like they may just have to let this one go. They'll pop the fortification. Loader getting the space down bottom on the Drought. Mid lane still being farmed up by S4. So Alliance just trying to make the most of the other lanes across the map, whilst EHOME put their full efforts towards taking this tier 1.
Yeah, it was all right. Like, this tower for Alliance doesn't really mean too much. I mean, sure, it means that they can drop an aggressive ward and the large camp in the Ancient spot, but realistically, they already killed the stack. So the goal that they had for the early game was accomplished before that tower drops. And that means that now EHOME probably looking to rotate to get that last tier 1 down. Their team is all right at killing Roshan, it's just extremely slow. Like, they have use of the healing ward, but I think that it's kind of a benefit of Alliance this draft is they do so much more physical damage because of the Drow and having the 3 ranged heroes, plus the Bristleback, who can obviously take away armor from Roshan once he starts getting points into the goop. So I think that EHOME are actually going to struggle for a little bit. They are smoked up en masse here.
I'm going to try and do something to break this struggle. See what they'll head for. The moment down on the bottom. S4 in the jungle on the Storm. Drow. Loader is in the lane. They don't have the vision of either of them though. EHOME going in blind. See if they're able to get a whiff of either hero already. Storm's backing up. Loader's got to be careful. He's by the secret shop. And use the scan, and it's a good scan from Alliance. Realizing that EHOME are moving in, and Alliance is straight out. Perfect scan from the team, and EHOME won't find anything because of it.
There is a 13-minute Crimson Guard on this Bristleback, by the way. That is completely insane.
Bulldog's farm on the Bristleback. Pretty much every game has been immaculate during these group stages. And now, as we're seeing on the main stage as well, he's able to keep it at that level.
The thing that's a little bit... See, I like the Crimson because during the early game, they have a lot of right-click damage. It's obviously very good against Tombstone. But once the Sand King gets Blink Dagger, you're also going to want stuff like a mech. You're going to want a Pipe for sure. Mirana will eventually get that Aghanim Scepter going as well. But this could be the right item timing for this stage in the game when you know that Alliance can start grouping up and looking to push towers, because it is still like slightly before the Sand King has Blink. EHOME obviously looking for those openings once Old 11 does acquire that Blink Dagger. But for now, Alliance are playing very well.
As we can see, Old 11 very close to that Blink Dagger that you talk about. Only 200 gold away. He's going to want to make sure that he gets that safely. But also worth noting as well, as you said, because of Alliance's tools coming together, the Crimson Guard, they have got this pushing power. Good news for them is the fact that, as we can see net worth-wise, they're already very much individually at the top. And there's still 3 tier 1s for the taking. Bottom lane, S4, going to move in onto Ice with the plays, the stun from EGM. Ice gets the Omni off, but it doesn't matter. Alliance will finish him off. S4 and EGM playing nice. 11, he needs to buy the blink. He needs to spend his gold. I know he's chill. He knew he was fine. Moonlight Shadow's there. In fact, they may just turn this. Old Chicken coming in. Demonic Purge onto Ake. They'll find one. They'll be able to jump in for another. But some nice level of chill from Sand King, who doesn't panic buy. He's got 2.4k gold. He wanted to buy it from the side shop. He'll back up and pick up that Blink Dagger now. Old 11. As they're ready for the next engagement. But a big kill for Alliance on the bottom lane, nonetheless, getting that Ice skill onto
S4 needs to be careful. Old 11 wants this Epi Burrow so badly. Alright, S4 not going to be greedy, making the right decision to just back off. He knows that Old 11 is missing. Blink Dagger timing, 15 minutes in is a relatively standard timing for a Sand King who had as rough of a laning phase as he did. But the first showcase of the Blink Dagger is going to be really big for EHOME. I mean, obviously the Alliance knows that he has it, but if they start grouping up and trying to push, a well-placed Burrow Epi can kind of bring EHOME back into it really quick.
And they certainly need it as well. I mean, especially considering their teams in this matchup, Alliance and EHOME, and the way that we've seen them perform before. For Alliance to be doing this well off the back of the laning stage against EHOME, I mean, as a team, there's got to be a huge amount of momentum and drive that they're going to be feeling right now. So it's got to feel great to come out of the first 15 minutes like this if you're Alliance.
Yeah, and the other thing, too, as we mentioned, the Storm doesn't really have a whole lot of natural counters in this game. The scariest part is the Blink Sand King and then getting arrowed after a Burrow Strike. But other than that, he's pretty much free to do whatever.
That's 4. Zipping in, EHOME. Immediately backing off. But as you said, EHOME, they don't want to be the ones to get caught out. They need to find the kicker to start a fight themselves at this stage. They can't let Alliance or S4 zip in onto them, and we're going to see now Old Chicken, Old 11 smoking up. Got eyes towards the mid lane. Again, at the moment, Bulldog's on the front, and is he really the hero that you want to be making the jump on? That's the question. And indeed, EHOME holding away from him. Head over towards the top. Loader at the moment was out there. We can see a lot of warding from EHOME out here. They've got good vision at this area. They know that Loader's alone. This will be a good kill. Old Levin jumps in. We'll see if there's any backup. Arrow to follow through as well. Loader rather tanky, but Old Chicken jumping in with a burst. Can they save this man? They can't. He's going to go down, but Alliance, they're going to look to try and punish EHOME for this play. Old Levin out of mana. Looks to be out of luck as well. Moonlight stay. Burrow strikes across. Dust is still on him though. Alliance will chase him down. They'll punish the Sand King play. But indeed it is a 1-for-1. EHOME able to get the kill onto Loader.
That's a pretty big kill. Killing him before the Shadow Blade comes out. Obviously already has a Dragon Lance in his inventory. Alliance not really feeling too pressured to go for any towers, and after like knowing for sure now that the Sand King has Blink, I think it's going to be a little bit before we really see them group up. Just wait at the very least for S4 to get the Bloodstone. That's going to be one of the bigger things.
During that time as well, of course, down bottom, it looks like Ice did make a go on S4 with the Omni Slash. It was unsuccessful. S4 able to keep himself alive. Now, Old Lanham, Fenrir, putting some pressure on the tier 1. Already TP's coming through from Alliance. Loader. They have forward, looking for a potential deny. He's going to get it. Managed to take a bit of gold away from him. Looking for the Tombstone, and in fact, Bulldog was going to try and chase, but Fenrir holds him back with the disruption into the arrow, but Bulldog, he already got the Crimson off. So no way that EHOME jump in to try and do anything about that. Just buying the space for them to back up.
EHOME, again, their lineup is going to really struggle to kill Roshan, and that's normally one of the bigger objectives that you have once you've taken all the outer tier 1s. I mean, they can continually try to push in, but eventually S4 is going to decide to start coming to team fights. You might get your supports picked off. You know, you think about how MVP played Phantom Assassin yesterday against teams with Shadow Demon. You just go straight to the back line, you get that quick pick on the hero, and then you just get out. It's pretty much the same thing for a Storm.
I mean, talking about the Storm and the Bristleback, you know, we keep going back to both Bulldog and S4, but just look at their net worth at this stage of the game to be where they are on these heroes.
They're three towers down.
Yeah.
They're 3 towers down, and they still have more net worth, so they're just effectively farming the map a lot better right now than EHOME. But you could also say that EHOME's farm spread is different. So
it's true amongst the supports.
Yeah, like Lanham and Fenrir have a lot more farm respectively than Ake and EGM do on the side of Alliance.
Yeah, like Lanham, of course, as we just seen, he's picked up the full veil, ready for the next fight.
He really wants it to help out Old 11 because he realizes how critical it's going to be for Epicenters to land and make sure that they get kills, especially with these tanky heroes. Like, even S4 has 1,600 health right now.
So you're not going to be able to burst him down immediately. S4 will have a chance to escape if they do make a jump on him. Ice is getting a little bit more space though. We've seen him sit down here on the bottom lane. Alliance, for the time being, not going to do anything about that. Ice is of course going for the standard Yasha into Battle Fury. But as you said, in your eyes, Andy, there's not a lot of pressure on Alliance. You don't feel that they need to make a lot happen at this stage, as long as they can keep this farm going at this pace where they consistently are ahead of EHOME on their course.
Yeah, I feel like their late game is going to be slightly better. Obviously, there are things to worry about, like the Shadow Demon eventually getting Aghanims against Bristleback. That's really painful because it gets rid of your passives. You can die really quick, but looks like EHOME.
Alliance, no.
Yeah,
just scanned outside as well. It's been confirmed.
It might be too late, though.
Can they get here in time? They may have a chance for some sort of jump.
I mean, they don't even have Bulldog. He's running back to base. Oh, they're calling him in. Okay, here we go.
It's all too late. EHOME able to get themselves the Aegis. Alliance don't want to try and do anything off the back of this. Loader has got the Shadow Blade, but already indeed with the Moonlight Shadow, EHOME taking that very, very nicely. Getting the Roshan, taking the Aegis and getting themselves out with no casualties whatsoever. And at the same time, Old Chicken finishes off Aghanim. So Aghanim's and Aegis ready on the Mirana for the next fight. And a big objective pickup for EHOME. And they're certainly getting to a power spike, as we said. You know, with Old Lanham's Veil, with the jump in from the Sand King. Indeed, Ice.
Boy.
They're not aware. Ice will be fine. S4 comes over and zips into the tree line, but as you can see, EHOME being very sneaky with his positioning at the moment.
Old 11's also in a very good position as well.
He's so close. I think they realize. No, they're TPing out. They're TPing out. Ice, he's fine. EGM as well as go. Ice. They never knew. He's a sneaky one, that Daryl.
I think it's actually a blessing in disguise that Alliance didn't try to go for a fight there. Like, maybe they would have killed Ice before the rest of the team got there. But since they were in such a compact area, there's a good chance that Old 11 gets a really big epicenter and maybe gets a handful of kills with it. It might have not been a good thing. And not to mention, they did just kill Roshan, so Old Chicken having the Aegis and the fresh Aghanims. The amount of magic damage that's going to be output with the Veil from Old 11 as well, or excuse me, Old Lanham, that is really, really scary for them right now because they don't have magical damage mitigation. Like, there's no pipe, there's no mech on the side of Alliance just yet.
As we can see, it looks like Alliance is going to make the decision to just shove down the top lane. Loader managed to just pick himself up a double damage rune and immediately attending to the push up top. Rather opting to get objectives done rather than fighting to EHOME head on, of course, with this power spike that EHOME have hit with their items. The fact that there's an Aegis as well on the side, but S4. Nicely dodging Old 11's attempt at an initiation. But EHOME will stop Alliance from taking the tier 2 for now, as they back up to the top lane. That's, of course, giving Ake some space down bottom as he begins this journey towards the Aghanims, and he's already halfway there. He comes up to 1k on top of the point booster. And as we've seen before, if Ake can get that Aghanims in a reasonable amount of time, obviously it's not going to be as quick as some of the games we saw from Alliance in the group stage. It just offers so much to the way that Alliance play as a team.
Yeah, the sustain is ridiculous. Also having the vision, EGM.
Clap.
Casual TP home. But the vision for me is going to be the more important thing, actually. Sure, having the sustain is great. Being able to never have to go back to base is great. But having the ability to see the Sand King before he goes in is also great.
Right, let's see how they play this. Okay, the arrow timing's there. EHOME not want to mess that one up.
That was a pretty cocky move from S4 to be farming that wave. Like, he knew they were there. There's no way that he didn't see them.
It's been a very tense game. In 23 minutes in, only 3 for 6, but as we see just little lapse of concentration, little mistakes, and immediately the opponents will be there to punish. Bulldog trying to go in onto Old Lanham. He does have backup Old Lanham here. Fenrir and Old 11 coming across. Roger set up at S4, zipping in, Crimson Guard's out, the Undying Tombstone has been dropped, and Old Chicken the burst is a lot onto Bulldog, but they're still looking for Old Lanham, they'll take down one. Can they get themselves anything else? Old Chicken being fire blasted by EGM, Ice has turned up to the fight as well. Onto 2 from Old 11, the Blade Fury from Ice, looking to take EGM, they will find a second. No, Loader, he's kept alive though, S4 saves him a goal. Old 11 and Old Chicken drive by. Find a third. Alliance falling apart here on this top fight. Aki forced back to base, and S4's had to head off to the side. But EHOME kind of baiting them in there with the Undying, and Alliance, they're quick to bite, and EHOME are quick to counter-react.
That was really unfortunate for Bulldog. Like, he was trying to get out of the fight, walks right into Ice, who omnis him in the face after he was already at like 30 or 40% health. Just drops really quickly. He wasn't able to really get on a target that he wanted. I think of all the heroes on EHOME to hit, like, hitting the Undying is really kind of a struggle. He actually has a huge amount of armor because he already built a Veil and he has an additional Helm of Iron. Well, he's going to be going for the Armlet build, which I believe he's done before. This is a very hard Undying to actually get through. So for Bulldog, he wants to go on, like, you know, chase down the Mirana, stop him from staying in the fight, go on Fenrir perhaps, or maybe even the Sand King just to prevent him from getting really good stuns inside of the fight.
Big fight for EHOME, and this is, of course, exactly what we expected to see them looking for. After a laning stage where, you know, Alliance were getting the space, they were getting the farm. When it comes to downright team fights, we've just seen EHOME certainly able to outwit the side of Alliance. Come out on top, S4, he gets himself out.
That tree saved his life.
Good job as well, because EHOME, we're coming in hard, as we can see in terms of the build as well. I mean, this Mirana, he's getting pretty farmed. As we can see, he's ahead of the Jug at this stage.
He's actually also making Eagles, which I think is really good this game.
Yeah.
There's a couple of uses. Like the first one, knowing that there's going to be an Orchid up and there's going to be Gus on the Drow. It's really nice that the spells sank.
Yeah, he sniffed him out.
Yeah, he's fine.
Burrow and TP, yep. Nowhere to get the vision. He's A-okay. This game at the moment, I feel Alliance. What's the game plan now for Alliance? You just had a bad fight up top. What are you looking to do next? Is it a certain item? I mean, Loda at the moment, he's starting to rack up the gold again on top of the Shadow Blade. Are we going to wait for Alliance to get something else on their hands and then to actively go? Are they going to wait for the next Roshan? What's the plan?
I think getting the Orchid is the first step here for Alliance, or maybe if you can get a quick pick. I saw Ice, but this is not a super easy kill.
He's got to play Fury and a CP in there immediately. Ice. Straight out of harm's way. Ake has the progression looking towards Ags. He's just about got enough money for the third component, so still closing in on that item pickup for Kotl.
I'll take
The
that.
smoke from EHOME. All ults at the ready. So what kind of a jump in they get Moonlight to help them close the gap. Already though, Alliance trying to retreat, but Old 11 clipping EGM on the edge. Bro strike into arrow. No hope for the Ogre. EHOME. Find one. See if they can get themselves anything else. They are looking towards the Kotl, and indeed they've caught him out. Ake will spend his gold. But EHOME, they're going to look for a second. Ake trying to turn, help out Bulldog, but no, Ake's gone. Demonic Purge was dropped from Fenrir. So no chance for the Keeper of the Light. Same time though, S4 looking to fight back, get some vengeance for his team, trying to go on Old Lanham. He heals himself up with a Soul Rip and immediately just goes for the Zip TP. S4 realizing he can't take that fight.
Just such a tanky Undying.
Tower is under attack.
He's going to be even tankier once he finishes up that armlet. And right now, EHOME are doing everything properly. They're pressuring the map.
Floater reveals himself. Old 11 and Old Chicken could go for a stun play, but he's out. 11 for 4 though, EHOME certainly starting to break away, and we can see indeed Mirana top of the board and now ahead of Bulldog's Bristleback, which has in itself been incredibly impressive with the amount of farm that Bulldog's been able to get. Orchid is slowly being closed upon by S4.
The problem with his Orchid timing this game is that there's already a Yule's out on the Mirana, so you have to have Old Chicken use that in some other ways before you want to jump him. You can still potentially go for the Sand King, you can still go for the Shadow Demon, that's very true, especially considering that Fenrir is carrying around a gem, so he's actually a fairly high value target at this point. But in regards to killing cores, he's going to kind of struggle for a little while.
As we can see, 1 minute left till Roshan respawns, so it'll be the point that EHOME are looking to get and then try and go even more aggressive. As we've seen though, without the Aegis, EHOME not faced at all, and they have been consistently moving onto Alliance's half of the map, trying to find the kills. In fact, on the bottom, S4 was there. Oh, he's still there. They might be in trouble here. Going around them. Immediately again going for the TP out. At the same time, top laner, EGM and Loda, they found Old 11 on his own. They got any kind of detection.
No detection.
Oh, they do have Gust. He doesn't have the mana for Gust either. So Old 11, looks like he's going to get himself away with a freebie here. Have they got any way to deal with this Sanking? It doesn't look like it. Old 11's going to do himself right out of there. Alliance with the tools to take him down.
I don't know, this game's a little bit weird from Alliance for me personally, because like they buy this super early Crimson, they had it at 13 minutes. They didn't really push the towers until quite a bit later. And then Bulldog goes for the SNY before even trying to go for something like that pipe. And the team as a whole feels like it's so scared of the epicenter and team fights and the Mirana damage that they're just avoiding engagements because of that.
Bottom. And looking for the setup, the timing is perfect. The arrow as well, S4, he's gone. EHOME's execution with this combo, immaculate. And catching the storm every time.
And when you can commit those 3 heroes and guarantee get a kill on the storm, you're going to do it pretty much all the time. Roshan's respawned as well. EHOME still continually maintaining that map control.
Yeah, indeed, EHOME into Roche. But silver lining for S4, of course, was he did manage to finish off the Orchid before they took him down there.
He's only got 6 Bloodstone charges though. That's really the thing that hurts the most. You want a lot of charges to make sure, like during the later stages of the game, if you do end up dying then, you respawn really fast and don't have to expend money on a buyback. It's a big difference, not to mention, of course, the mana regeneration.
And EHOME given all the space in the world to take the Roche. Alliance realizing that they couldn't contest that with S4 on the sidelines. I mean, at this point, our Alliance waiting for EHOME to come to them. We can see that Alliance still confident enough to come out onto EHOME's half of the map. 3 of them coming into the push up top. We may very well see EHOME just put the pressure on mid and force Alliance to create some sort of a defense and reaction. Looks like Loda is going to stick around top for the time being with EGM. And Tier 2 is looking very appealing, sitting rather low at the moment on the top lane. But indeed, the pressure is being put on by EHOME on this mid lane. And backup may be required for Alliance. if EHOME decide to push up to the high ground with the Sages.
Well, they do have the Keeper Aghanims now at least, so that's going to help a lot. Pushing into this is now extremely difficult if you're EHOME. They really only have one hero who's good hitting towers, and that's Ice. We've seen a lot of struggles so far here at the TI6, not even group stages, but main stage as well. Teams struggling to break high ground because they pick a lot of melee cores. EHOME kind of suffer from that.
We have EHOME formulating their push up to the high ground. The blinding light from Ake trying to slow down the advance, but EHOME being more down. Very good, the stun, the burst onto Bulldog! So much damage coming out from this combo from EHOME.
There's no buyback, that's a full minute.
That's a bristleback with 15k net worth on him, and he disappears just like that. That's got to be terrifying.
That is their only frontline hero as well. I mean, EGM can do what he wants.
Oh,
Nice throw.
11 with a two-man burst strike. S4 zips in, trying to catch out the loader. Caught up by the stun, he's taken down. They've lost the drought. Immediate buyback for loader for this defense. But EHOME just jump in, take whatever they want, get straight back out. Just toying with Alliance at the moment on these high ground pushes.
Like, no one was able to help the bristleback when he was frontlining. That's the biggest issue. You need to try to have somebody up there, like either have a Coddle Blast. I'm not sure if they just mistimed it, but we're going to get a chance to see it again. He throws at the Blinding Light, and then we see a double burrow coming in here from Old 11, and they just jump straight away. Loda gets glimmered by EGM, but unfortunately at that point, it's kind of already too late. And EHOME are just going to eventually be kind of forced back, but you can't really afford for your only frontline hero to die that quickly and hope to defend. It's actually kind of a good thing for them that they managed to maintain their racks and only lost to tier 3.
Old 11 coming in, he's just picked up a newfound Aghanim Septi. Love to do something with it. EGM at the moment hiding the tree line, but as we can see, this vision that Old 11's getting. This Invis rune, getting valuable intel for EHOME. But as we saw as well after the last fight, Old Chicken with an E-Blade, and Old Chicken's play has been absolutely perfect. Every time, even in the chaos of these fights, he's always hitting the arrow targets. Again, Bulldog, there won't be any follow this time from EHOME. Bulldog with the Greaves as well, so a little more punch to his defensive capabilities when EHOME jump on him. I mean, EHOME at this stage as well, do they just group up and go down the mid again? Are they waiting for Alliance to come out? I mean, if you're EHOME, surely you're not that scared at this point.
They can illusion siege, if anything, right? They just keep disrupting Ice, they send his illusions on the range racks, they kill that, and then if Alliance ever get out of position, Old 11 gets a burrow, and potentially they can just take the fight from there.
Alliance looking for some kind of wraparound. They will find Femra on the back lines. This time they do have the Dust, trying to take down the SD. They'll find one. Undyne's Tombstone has been dropped. Alliance trying to fight into it. They'll take the Tombstone down. Ice, stick in front of two on the side. S4 zipping around, but Old Chicken comes in with the start to the
Epicenter.
The Epicenter from Old 11. Bulldogs down. Alliance is starting to falter. S4 still trying to deal with Old Lana, but he can't quite kill him. Old Chicken jumps away, but he gets zipped on by S4. They will take another, but as we can see, EHOME moving in. Alliance totally wide. Ice with the triple. An Alliance where they may be able to take one, take two kills each and every time. EHOME just outplaying them in these team fights.
Old 11 is doing so much work on the Sand King. The guy had serious struggles during the laning phase, but as soon as he got his Blink Dagger, he has been delivering this entire time. EHOME's going to very easily take down this melee racks, and they're going to try to make the transition bottom to see if they can get that tier 3 as well.
This is starting to look very messy for Alliance in game one. There may have been a bit of a glimmer of hope in the start, off the back of a decent laning stage. But EHOME, just with the better calls, the better performance into the mid-game, and now absolutely miles ahead, 80-6. Already jumping out. S4 comes in with the defensive zip, looking to catch out a member of EHOME, but Old 11 just walks it off. They can't quite get him, and now Arcade, he's in trouble. Bulldog comes in with a burrow strike onto two. Again, Alliance, they've got to run. They've got to hide. They're trying to get themselves back to base, but EGM beat down upon. They're losing heroes again and again. S4 coming in, looks for the zip onto Orlando, but these glimmer capes, they're just ruining the potential of S4 to lock someone down. And EHOME, they'll take the racks down bottom as well, back off. Loader coming in, trying to do something about Ice, but they've only got three, and in fact, they come EHOME, ripping Loader to pieces. S4 and Bulldog, the last men standing, but an Omni slash to the back of Bulldog brings him down. GG is called, and EHOME playing like EHOME, Andy.
I mean, the crowd pretty much says it all, right? Alliance looked really strong in the laning phase. They had the Drow strategy. It looked like it was going pretty well. But I feel like Alliance, maybe they got too complacent around